Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Sam Bassett to help us understand everything that we witnessed yesterday. Sam, good morning. I have to ask you the first thing. Did the prosecution overstep?
Well, it appears they did. The jury has spoken, and all the legal analysts, some were right, some were wrong, but the jury has spoken, and I think it is clear that the jury believed that the prosecution overstepped.
Sam, the judge setting an October 3rd sentencing date, do you think we will make it to that date? And if not, what will his attorneys do to get him released sooner?
Well, I think at any time his attorneys can file a motion for reconsideration of the bail decision by the judge. I don't think a court of appeals will rule in that period of time, overruling the district judge's decision. District judges are giving great deference on that. Now, we can debate all day long whether or not that judge was correct in denying him bail at this juncture, but nonetheless, he has the power to do that, and I think he'll continue to do that.
Sam, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, one of the many to testify against and for the prosecution there against Diddy, she sent a letter to the judge asking that Sean Combs not be released. Another witness who testified, Dawn Richard, also asking not to be released. The judge also issuing some harsh words about the music mogul, saying he has a pattern of violence. Do you believe the judge will take a hard stance in Diddy's sentencing, or are you like, Nick, the guy has no criminal history, this should be a cakewalk?
Well, I think the judge is going to sentence under the guidelines, and the estimates of the sentence are somewhere between 4 and 6 years under the guidelines. So the judge is going to sentence according to the law. But in the meantime, he has to consider the safety of the community. And I think especially right after the verdict, he was probably concerned if Diddy was released soon after the verdict, the chance of confrontations and difficult situations arising was higher than after some time passes. So maybe he'll reconsider it before sentencing. But I think his view of the evidence during the trial definitely impacted his view of Diddy's propensity toward violence.
Sam, let me ask you this, something that just came to mind. This is a federal conviction. Does that then make him eligible for like a pardon from the president?
It does. Any federal conviction, any federal convictee can apply for a pardon to the White House. So yes, he is eligible for a pardon by the president.
And I would assume it just makes sense to me, if you're that well-heeled and that connected, why would you not grease the appropriate palms to make that connection and ask for, that pardon? I mean, that only makes sense, yes?
Absolutely, especially since he was convicted of counts that normally are not brought in federal court by themselves. The counts were just added on to the more serious counts. So I think he might have a compelling argument for pardon at some point with President Trump.
Sam, despite the defeat on bail, Mr. Combs' defense team was taking a victory lap after the verdict was read. Appropriate misstep, or, no, Nick, they needed to celebrate that.
If I was on the defense team, I would be celebrating. The most serious charges of sex trafficking and RICO, they got an acquittal. So that is worthy of a celebration. Obviously, you have to mute that celebration somewhat as his counsel, because you have work left to do to try to get the minimum sentence possible under the lesser counts.
Sam Bassett, your prediction, if I asked you to look into a crystal ball, 2, 3 years, how much time do you think Mr. Combs will get?
Well, I'm hearing the guideline application is something like 50 to 65 months or something like that. So I would predict the judge would sentence within that range. So, my prediction would be somewhere in the 4 to 5 year range.
Sam Bassett, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.